back, viewers, to yet another exciting episode of Career Chronicles, where we give you expert advice and also profile local figures who are making an impact. With me, Chris Kaukemwa, your host. Please stay tuned for an exciting episode in Dr. Lemmer, right here in Rehoboth. So today, I've decided to go outdoors and go profile a local teacher who is making an impact. She is an entrepreneurship teacher will be telling us about her journey on becoming a teacher. So if I were you, I will stay tuned for this exciting episode. Don't mind my head, it's a little bit sunny out here. This is not for vibes. So please stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. Like I said, I've always wondered what happens with teachers, the challenges they face in the classroom. So I'm here joined by from Groenefield. She is going to walk us through her journey. So thank you very much for joining us today on our show. I've always wondered what happens with teachers in the classroom. You know, these kids can get very naughty. Maybe you can just tell us how did you become a teacher? Where did you study? Did you always see yourself becoming a teacher some good day?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ms. Groeneveld. Um, Growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. It was my passion as a little girl. I remember all the dolls would be in a row, and then I would be in front, teaching them the things that I was taught the day before at school. So I always wanted to be a teacher. But after grade 12, I passed really good. But something happened, and I was really disappointed, and I decided I'm not going to go study. I'm taking a gap year. I'm not going to go study. I took a gap year maybe for 2 years. After that, one evening I came home from my job that I had, which was paying good at the time, and I sat there and I was like, will I be able to afford a house and a car with this job? And realization hit, and I called my mom, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go study now. Let's start registering. And we registered, and I finished my 4 years at UNAM, University of Namibia. First 2 years, I did full-time, and then third and fourth, I started distance, and from my third year, I started teaching. Oh, wow. So I've been in the profession for 8 years now. Yeah.
So I'm now looking at the challenges, obviously, on the road. You mentioned some few. But then I'm looking at the challenges now in the classroom. Was there ever a day you recall maybe there was an instance where you just told yourself, maybe this is not what I want to be. Maybe I want to study something else, or maybe I want to be someone else. Has that moment ever crossed your mind?
Definitely. But one thing that I would say, it's not the kids. I love what I do. I love the kids. I love teaching. I love spending time with the kids. It's the policies. Yeah. It's the admin. It's the little things that we don't do in class. It's behind the scenes. The going home and marking, the never ending. Yeah. It's that part. But coming here and seeing their faces, teaching them something and having that light bulb go on, that is the most satisfying part of my job. But the other parts, the challenging. Yeah. We get kids that are difficult to work with, unruly, but with me being a young teacher, I try to meet them on a certain level. Yeah. Because I try not to come here and be strict, but I try to come here and try to understand them and get where they're coming from. Yeah.
So I'm now looking at the bigger aspect of being a teacher. You mentioned some few challenges that you encounter as a teacher. So I wanted you to perhaps give some advice to people who want to be in a career like yours, maybe just to give them a motivation. As we all know, many kids now don't want to be teachers because they're like, no, it's challenging, I can't work with kids. You walked us through the path that it's fascinating for you to be a teacher. You love the kids. You just love your job. Maybe would you perhaps give some advice to these kids or students who want to be teachers as well?
If before you decide to go study for a teacher, make sure that it's something that you really want to do. Because if you come into this profession with, this is my plan B, I did this because all the other faculties were full, then you're going to be depressed the rest of your life. Do it because you want to do it and because it's something that you're passionate about. With coming into this profession, don't be lazy. Yeah. Planning is your number one priority. You need to plan, you need to be prepared, because a prepared teacher will be a successful teacher in class.
Oh, wow. A prepared teacher will be a successful teacher in class. So I'm now looking at the fact that there are obviously challenges you face. You broke down those ones very well for us. So now, would you perhaps tell us where you see yourself in 10 years' time? Obviously, I see myself as president some good day. I don't know about you. But yeah, where do you see yourself after 10 years? Do you perhaps look at the growing phase of becoming a principal or maybe someone there on top?
2 years back, my answer would have been, oh, I want to go lecture. I have my master's. I want to go lecture. I want to do this. But now, this me, I'm waiting on the Lord for an answer,
Yeah.
and then I want to go do the Lord's work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, then she
And with
said it.
my kids.
With your
Yes,
kids.
inspiring them.
Okay. Thank you very much for actually joining us on the show. Fortunately, I wish to had a longer conversation, but time is not on our side. So thank you very much. We hope to see you soon on the Lord's journey.
Yes, amen.
So that was here from Groene Fial telling us her journey. From me, Chris Kaukema, your host, it's goodbye.
Good day. My name is Anthea Costin, and I'm the founder of the Rory Costin Foundation, co-owner of Beyond Barriers Pediatric, author of the Read with Rory book series, and mom of Rory, who started and inspired this movement. Rory survived bacterial meningitis at just 3 months old, and she was left with a severe brain injury. A coping mechanism, I would say, was affirmations for us at the time, because it gave us stability, it gave us hope. I also believe in the power of words and the energy around it, which is what inspired our book. I wanted a book that represented my children, and also just their family dynamic. On the book cover, you'll see it's my 3 children, actually. And all the books in the Read with Rory book series is about diversity, inclusivity, self-awareness, self-belief, self-worth, representation, and inclusion. I also want to highlight on what the work is that the foundation will be doing. We are focusing on getting sponsorships for local centers like the Sunshine Disability Centers, therapy sponsorship for children at Beyond Barriers Pediatric, raising awareness and providing guidance for parents, advocating for parents as well as children. This is everything that we're doing at the foundation is through lived experience. We want to give back what we wish we had when we started on this journey. I want to touch on why specifically we want to support the Sunshine Center. We did a needs assessment in the Irongo region, and when we met at the Sunshine Center, we met with the board of directors, and we noticed that there was a significant deficit at the center. Everything that they want to do, they're doing really powerful work. They have newly acquired land, and they need funds to build a new structure. And what is so significant about what they're doing is they are enabling and empowering disabled children to become independent adults. Then Beyond Barriers, the reason we are helping children get therapy at Beyond Barriers will be Namibia's first neurodevelopmental therapy studio. So we'll just say NDT for neurodevelopmental therapy going forward. At the moment in Namibia, there are no NDTs in the country, which I call it a national crisis. One of the major challenges that we have here as parents with, neurodiverse or disabled children is those with medical aid. Your medical aid, number one, runs out by May. And number two, a lot of parents cannot afford to fund therapy for their children. So part of the work for the foundation is to raise money to help these children go for therapy. Because come May, what happens to your child? We can't afford to keep our children at home. Part of the work of the foundation is to raise money to sponsor therapy for neurodiverse children. In most cases, parents would have to travel outside of the country to, just give their children an opportunity to thrive. Not a lot of parents have access to funds to be able to travel. So what happens to those kids? So I don't want any of those children to be left behind. And so, yes, this cause is deeply personal. A little bit more about Beyond Barriers Pediatric. I've met a few moms on our journey, and one in particular stood out. Her name is Manuela, and she is my partner in Beyond Barriers. We both had to travel, like many other parents as well, had to travel abroad to get therapy. But we also used to get together every few months just to catch up and offer support to each other. So when she came back from her trip, she told me, my child needs therapy, but it's too expensive. How can we bring these people here? And we tried to figure it out. And the therapists, they agreed to come to Namibia, and we had to find a place, and we had to furnish the place, and the idea turned into a pediatric studio. We've also realized that, we learned in our journey that regular occupational therapy or physio is not enough for neurodiverse children. You need specialized therapy like NDT, which is the neurodevelopmental therapy. And we will be hosting our first intensive in September this year. And intensive therapy is where a child would get 2 to 3 hours of therapy for 2 to 3 weeks. And this happens every few months, whereas regular therapy is 30, 45 minutes to an hour, 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, so that's the difference between regular therapy and intensive therapy. We are bridging a major gap in the country in terms of neurodevelopmental therapy, neurodevelopmental care, because we are also in the process of bringing in a pediatric neurologist, which is, again, something Namibia doesn't have. But through Beyond Barriers, we want to give the parents what they need without having to leave the country. And hopefully in the near future, Namibia becomes a medical tourism hub. I'm also excited to share what the Read with Rory book series will be about. This is book 1, Mysterious Book of Magic, and it has my 3 children. Book 2 will be out in November of this year, and it's called Nia's Wings. So Nia is a butterfly with crumpled wings, and she cannot fly, and the story is about her navigating through life, trying to figure out where she fits in and how she can make a difference. Book 3 would be the 4 seasons, so it's called Seasonal Spectacular, which has the original 3 characters plus an extra one. So each child represents a season, and each child is differently abled, if I can put it that way. Book 4 is called Whispers of a Moon Owl, and this is about an owl with sensory aversion and how she has to figure out, again, how to thrive in a world where she's different. And book 5, I have the name of the title, but it's a surprise, but it is about different forms of communication. We will have 5 characters. So you'll see the same characters from book 3 and book 1 in book 5. Different forms of communication and different abilities. Then we will also have a special edition called Healing Horses, and that will be a free copy. And it was inspired by Rory's horse riding therapy that she goes for. Yeah, that's okay. So I've had to quit my job, obviously, to take care of my child. This is a yeah, this is a different ball game. Hospital visits, traveling for therapy. There is just no way that you can have a full-time job. So you have to rely on one income. And then how do you survive after that? I've had to find real balance between being a mother, a wife, a caregiver, and I've lost a lot of friends along the way as well. So it's a really lonely road when you have a child with special needs. Um, but it's also one that's very rewarding. Um, if you choose, you can, like I sometimes say, if you choose, you can turn your grief into gold. Um, because in every problem that you face, there is an opportunity. The Rory Costin Foundation is a nonprofit, and we rely heavily on sponsorships. How you can help is sponsor a book, sponsor a child for therapy, donate to the foundation. Whether you buy a book or donate to the foundation, every contribution makes a difference. I am Anthea Costin, co-founder of Beyond Barriers Pediatric. This is Manuela van Skalkwijk, the other co-founder of Beyond Barriers Pediatric, and we are here to tell you what we're all about and what we have to offer. But before we even start, we want to talk about the backstory of why we founded Beyond Barriers in the first place. Both of us have neurodivergent children, which could be a foreign concept for many people. But our children have, because of different reasons, brain injuries actually. So they fall under the special needs category. And yes, special needs is actually quite broad. You have a wide variety of children with different abilities, whether it's autism or cerebral palsy or Down syndrome. But our children have brain injuries, and they fall under the neurodiverse category under special needs. So both of us have actually had to travel outside of Namibia to go for therapy for our kids, to give our children an opportunity to thrive.
To be the best they can be.
Yes, to be as independent as they can actually be, and to be the best they can be. But realistically and long term, it's unsustainable. It's financially not feasible. And she went to America last year in November, and she came back and she's like, I have to sell my house if I want to go back again, and I just want to help my kid. So how do you help your child? And I can guarantee you 100% of parents going through what we're going through don't know what's going to happen to their children if they're not there anymore. And that's why we founded Beyond Barriers.
Any mom's biggest fear
Yeah.
is their child not being okay if something happens to them.
Yeah.
So our dream is to have the best therapy for our kids at home.
Yeah.
Traveling overseas, like we do a lot, it's traumatizing for ourselves, not so much for the kids, but for us, because financially, our husbands can't travel with us, always. The therapy is very expensive, so that means, like with us, I go by myself. So it might sound very nice to say I'm going to America for 3 weeks, but it's stressful. I'm going to a whole new continent. I don't even know if the Uber that's picking me up is the right Uber, if he's taking me where he's supposed to take me. So yeah, it's emotionally stressful for parents and for kids, because we have to take our kids away from daddy, from their siblings, out of their home, out of their comfort zones. So we want to bring international expertise to Namibia medically because every child deserves the best at home.
Yes, and with that, not every child or every family can afford to actually travel, even to South Africa, for example, to even get a brain scan or any therapy. Not every family has the opportunity to travel to South Africa or America or Europe. So we wanted to bring the therapists here. We share the cost, and then the children actually get first world therapy right here at home, right here at home. And that was the biggest thing for us. Through lived experience, we were able to make a difference and help a lot more Namibian children. And that was the key thing for us.
Because it's not just about us.
Yeah.
It's about a lot of other kids
Yeah.
who have the potential to become independent adults.
Yeah.
But with the current medical expertise in Namibia, it's not possible. So, and I feel the strain on parents is significant with a special needs child. The government doesn't do enough, I feel, to assist these families and kids who it's expensive. I mean, we're looking at a standing frame for a child costs you 20,000, 30,000.
That's the minimum.
That's minimum.
Yeah.
That's the starting point for any kind of equipment a special needs child needs. We're not even talking about a walker.
Yeah.
A walker will assist the child in walking independently. We're looking at 60, 70, 100,000 rand.
And mind you, medical aid only pays a maximum of 4,000 for a
4,000.
standing frame.
So where do parents get this amount of money? It's financially not doable. And I mean, then you sit with therapists who are not specifically qualified to work with special needs. I feel it's wrong. It's an injustice to the child because you could give that child a normal life. There's a lot of special needs kids in Namibia who could have normal lives, who could be working, who could go to mainstream school, but because Namibia doesn't have the right therapist, this child is not able to get the opportunity to do so. And I feel we are very fortunate to be able to do what we did with our daughter. So yes, it's come from Abigail turned 11 in June. She was diagnosed at 9 months. So it's taken me 10 years to be tired and say, I don't want to fly. I want to be at home. And going to America and seeing what those therapists did. So it's a physiotherapist and an occupational therapist who are just more qualified. They got my child walking
And talking.
independently
And talking sentences.
and talking sentences. So before Abigail would say one word, she would answer yes or no. And we also did a lot of stem cells treatments, which they do with special needs kids a lot. So before we went to America, she would have one word. She could say eat or hippie or play or whatever. And we were in America for the second week and she just started talking. Full on sentences. And I just cried. And it wasn't that the therapist did very different exercises, they just utilized the child's ability and enhanced it. So I just said it was so profound. Like we've been going to Cape Town for 10 years and our physio couldn't get right what they did in America. And my child was walking in a walker by herself. And to me as a mom, it couldn't have been a more successful trip. And it was based on that that I came home and I said, it's going to cost us the same amount of money going back to America for 3 weeks or buying all of the equipment.
Yeah, essentially.
Yes.
Essentially.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I still got my head on. It's a little bit sunny out here in Rehoboth. So that was a very insightful career journey that we had from Juffrouw Groeneveld, who told us about her journey on becoming an entrepreneurship teacher. So please stay tuned for our next episode. That will only be next week.